What's up, everybody, and welcome to episode, I think this is 42, Ijah? 42, episode 42, look at us go. I just did a full episode with my father. It was super fun. If you guys want to check this one out, we talk about everything from aliens, multidimensional beings, parts of your brain that control time and space, and just hash. We talk about psychedelics. Oh, we talk about it all. You know, it was a really fun episode. I feel lucky I get to do these. Oh, look at this. Temp's going to be perfect, I think. Let's get this dab in real quick. Wow. Terps. But I feel like I get to do these episodes. It's really special for me. Hope you guys enjoy them. Me and my dad always have a fun conversation. Oh, boy. Thank you. And what a way to start a podcast
Benjamin
episode.
Franklin. No,
Holy
Benjamin
shit.
Franklin said this, you know. He goes, the one problem with America, and I'm using my language because these and thous and those and that type of old
You're
English.
paraphrasing. You're just going to get the point out.
We'll work with that. You know, he goes, Americans, they can't seem to find that, you know, common ground where it just kind of waves back and forth. It's like either all the way here or all the way here.
And that's what Cassie says about me. She's like, why can't you just have a middle ground? She's like, either you're this or all the way this way. Like, it's one extreme or the other. And I think that's part of just my personality. But yeah, maybe that's an American way to be. Maybe I'm an American man.
No, you're an alien.
Oh, no. I don't know about that.
Yes.
No, I don't know about
Your
that.
mother and I have decided because we have decided that you're an alien.
Perfect.
Yes. You know, when you're a kid, everybody has dreams and stuff. And your mother, she had flying dreams.
Yeah.
Right? And of course, everybody, you know, today everybody talks about UFOs and stuff. Well, in our years, we had one experience driving up Oswego along on old Route 57, and now it's 481. And it's wintertime, and you know, it was just a 2-lane road then. And the huge snowbanks, and coming down below the tree line where Minetto is,
Yeah.
you see this circular red lights
Just
going down the center, slowly down the center of the river.
The river? Okay.
It's center of the river. And it wasn't just us pulling over, because this was like winter night, 6 o'clock on a Friday night.
Yeah.
And there was a line of cars pulled over.
How many cars? Like 20?
Yeah.
Holy
There was just, and everybody was just going, holy
What
shit.
the fuck is that?
Well, we get to Grandpa Dick's. He goes, no. That was nothing. That was an advertisement.
Yeah, well, the fucking river advertisement.
It's a river advertisement. Everybody wants to go down a polluted river. It's one of my dreams, you know.
Yeah.
And the big one I told you about was, I mean, up at Connie and Charlie's house.
Yeah.
And it was in September, so the sun hadn't gone down yet, and the moon is out. And there was a long enough period of time where I was talking to your mother, and I look up and I see one orb go. You know, they say orb or...
It was like a ball just like shot and then stopped in
one
spot.
shot this way, another one came this way, and I go, what the fuck? And I look at your mom, I go, what is that? And she had enough time to turn around and look. As she turns around and looks, they go off in different directions and gone like in a flash. Your mother's had more experiences up in Oswego because of all the nuke plants. We had, on her 25th birthday, we had a party up at Sandy Pond, which is east of all the nuclear plants.
Yeah.
And it's 2 o'clock in the morning. Granted, everybody's partying and everything else, but we look out over Lake Ontario, directly out from the nuclear plants, and there's something. Yeah. And in my mind's eye, I'm going, yeah, it's probably a helicopter. So that's how I put it.
Yeah.
Again, unless I see something clearly and it registers.
You try not to assume too much.
Yeah. I'm going, okay, maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe that was an advertisement, but the one at Connie and Charlie's, that was no advertisement.
Yeah.
That was something that was as clear
Just
as
weird. And the way it moved isn't like technology.
Yeah. And
see,
again,
you say all this, but recently you've been saying to me that because government officials are coming out now and being like, oh yeah, UFOs, aliens are real, it's making you go, they're not real.
No, I'm not saying they're not real. I'm saying the term aliens.
Yeah.
I don't think, and again, this is my point of view.
I want to hear it.
Is that we are colonists.
Yeah.
That's
part of our genetic DNA.
Well,
like we colonize and spread out.
Our DNA has to make us be able to function in this environment.
Yeah.
Okay. What was it? Tesla was a Venusian.
Yeah, he believed he was from Venus.
He believed he was from Venus.
Yeah,
okay?
a Venusian.
Well, who's to say that there aren't beings there?
Or there didn't used to be, and he just has an epigenetic
memory.
No,
what if they live in
that
atmosphere?
Yeah, because
what if they live in the air?
Yeah, because that recent thing that they came out with saying that they don't think Mars is a viable option, so now they're going to Plan B, which is Venus, and because Venus is half the distance, they basically have 99% proof that there's actually life in a certain atmosphere of it, some sort of biological life living in the clouds, and they found that there's actually they could use Teflon balloons that won't break down, and they can set the pressure inside of it to be the same as outside. Like they call it Cloud City. Think of Star Wars. I mean,
but think about the Earth. Now, if you were going to come here, and you're going to be a species like us or similar, well, you wouldn't be living in a fucking volcano.
No.
You wouldn't be living at the bottom of the ocean.
No.
Oh, this unit functions best in this type of atmosphere.
Yep, we're going to be on land.
Okay, so now let's colonize this one. Well, we can't live at the surface because it's 800 degrees, and the pressure would squash you like an ant.
Yeah.
But up in the atmosphere, it's thick enough.
So you believe we are the aliens, though?
We very well could be.
And see, this is what
because
I
we
believe
have this lost memories.
I think we are the aliens as well, and I also think that it's not as simple as we jumped on a ship, flew here, and forgot our memories. No. I think it's more like there's just intelligence out there. It sends out almost like a seed. When that seed hits a viable planet, that seed grows and eventually grows biological life, and then eventually creates us. And like we were talking about earlier, I believe humans are almost just like little antennas that catch certain frequencies of consciousness. So once we're born, the right frequency finds us like a key fitting in or a puzzle piece fitting into a puzzle, and then locks into us, and that consciousness can come here. It's almost like sending out stargates and technology, and then once the stargate's built, now you have that point where you can land. So this is one like theory or like kind of like thought thing where with that whole technology thing, once you send out this little seed, it grows biological life, it gets evolving, it gets smarter until it eventually builds a stargate. And once the stargate's built on that planet, all of a sudden all the other gates that are out there open up to that planet. So how these like intelligent beings that are us, they send this technology out, and in their time it's almost instant, because once they send it out and it starts growing because of space-time, how weird things are, all of a sudden that stargate opens for them too at the original home planet. I don't know anything.
Well, here's supposition is great, but if you were going to recolonize a planet, all right, and I some of these ideas I get is from C.S. Lewis. Yeah. You know, the guy that wrote Alice in Wonderland.
For sure.
He also wrote, it's Paralandra, Out of the Silent Planet, and The Hideous Strength. And what each one of those books is Venus, Earth, and Mars. And Paralandra, we're talking about floating cities.
Yeah, that's Venus.
Well, Venus, he has being oceans, but no land.
Yeah.
Right? But these big floating masses of life.
Yeah.
You know, and the way he describes it, and what the sky looks like, and that. Then he talks about Mars, where the beings there are just kind of like ghosts almost.
Yeah.
You know, which would make sense living in that kind of atmosphere.
Yeah.
If we were talking about that consciousness.
For sure.
You know, maybe they're living underground there.
Yeah.
You know, where the water is. And then they talk about Earth, and he brings in some Celtic, you know, like Merlin and all that. You know, how the Celtic peoples were, and so-called pagan beliefs. you know,
Yeah,
which are incorporated in every freaking holiday in the world now. But those dirty pagans.
Yeah, it's crazy. I was actually watching this, listening. It was a video, but I was more listening while I was working. And they were talking about, it's this artificial intelligence podcast I watch, and it's based on like this guy from MIT named Lex Friedman, and he's like an MIT scientist that works on artificial intelligence and all programming and stuff, and he has other super intelligent people on. They have conversations that are way too smart for me, but there's stuff in there that I like to listen to and makes me like have my imagination go and stuff like that. And this one subject they were talking about is this group of neurons that they're studying in the brain that has the ability to slow the frame rate down of time within your own individual space-time.
Yeah.
And what they're talking about is basically like when you're about to get in a car accident and all of a sudden like time slows down and you can like, you're just able to do everything and like everything's going slow motion. This is something that's physically happening to you individually.
Oh, absolutely.
This is not a drug. There's a cluster of neurons that are somehow slowing the frame rates of time down. They believe if they manipulate these neurons, they could give humans the ability to either speed up, slow down, or possibly go back, but not forward. But these neurons are like, it's so crazy to think so maybe the time machine isn't this big metal contraption we have to build. Maybe we don't have to shoot out in space at a certain speed and arc back. Maybe
we're still in the Stone Age.
That's what I'm saying. Maybe it's as simple as a group of neurons in our brain that have the ability to warp space-time. And here's another thing they were talking about too that relates to that, is that our actual reality, what they're believing now is what, not even believing, they basically have proven this, but it has to come out in scientific papers, get peer reviewed. Yeah. This podcast is really recent. This is like 2020 discoveries. Is that we are actually physically creating our own reality, that we might be walking around in the darkest, scariest, evilest place ever, but there's some part of our brain that humans are actually using. And they were proving this with deer by doing an experiment by controlling. So there's two dots going up and down. And the deer watches the two dots of light going up and down. And they can see what part of the brain is like firing when that's happening. They turn off the part of the brain where the dot ever goes down. It only goes up. So now, even though the dot's and we can all see it going up and the down, the deer only sees the dot that goes up. So the deer's reality is the dot only goes up. So what he's proving is that like for creatures to actually be sentient beings and moving around where we are, we might be walking through a hellscape, but we're able to project a world that's livable so that we can continue our genetics. It's like this whole thing and that would be another kind of like flip side of like, maybe we are in some sort of simulation.
They say
it's a biological simulation.
Yeah, they say that, I guess the max of what we are using in our brain capacity between 7 and 10%.
Yeah.
You know, one of those variables. You know, what you're talking about, time slowing down. Like I said, I gave the experience I had, you know, driving one of my work trucks, wet road, upstate New York, come around the bend going 60 miles an hour. There's a lady at a stop sign, and I look, and I can remember her. She looks to the left, and I'm coming from her right.
Yeah.
She pulls right in front of me, and she has two kids in the back, and I can see them just staring me right in the face. And things slowed down enough, I thought to myself, well, should I hit the brake or hit the gas?
Yeah.
I said, I'm going to hit the gas. I'm going for it. And I was able to make it all the way around her, and the lady hits her brakes and hits me on the opposite side of the truck, which took me about 45 minutes to explain to the New York State Police. They go, that's impossible.
But see, exactly. There was a cluster of neurons in your brain that at that moment was like, okay, time to slow down the frame rates of time.
Yeah.
Because it's a survival thing. So, okay, let's slow
it's
down
also
frame
in
rates.
sports, though, too. You just made me think of that. Think of a guy, well, I'll relate. I was a wrestler.
Yeah.
That was my sport. Everything was slow motion in wrestling.
Yeah.
Because you train so much, so it's your body is automatically reacting to what the other person is doing.
Yeah.
And if you train enough, you know, it becomes second nature. You can feel.
Yeah.
That was the one thing my wrestling coach said, that center, this center right here. I just found out about this guy too. He had a black belt in karate. I never knew
really?
that about him. Yeah, that was the guy.
It was a big deal back then.
I tell you what,
you
for
probably
me,
had to travel to get that back in the back in the
well, he
60s?
was from New York City.
Okay.
He was from the city, so.
But yeah, back to those, like that little cluster of neurons in your brain that like manipulate like space and time in your own individual space time. What I was wondering, and they didn't really talk about this, but they talked about things around what I'm wondering. So they'd say that if they could actually manipulate and control and maybe use this cluster of neurons almost like a muscle, how do we train it and make it stronger so that we can have this ability more often? What I wonder is if they have the ability to do that, could they use that same cluster of neurons and create some sort of space where maybe humans, maybe we only live for 60, 70 years biologically, but in our heads, it might seem like 200 or 300 years because we've slowed the frame rates of time down in such a way.
Noah was 900 years old.
So they say.
Yeah.
Well, people were way older back then, and I wonder if that was
Why
more.
though? Well, wait a minute.
Everyone was older in the books.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
All different books, all those crazy religious books. People were older.
I don't know. 900 years seems like a long fucking time.
I wouldn't even want to be here that long.
Oh, gosh.
It's not that big of a
planet.
planet.
Way, man. You know? I mean, really. How long have you been married? 875 years. I mean,
Yeah.
nothing against marriage. I love my wife dearly. She's the greatest thing ever. But that just seems like a long time.
Yeah. But that's, I don't know, I was just fascinated by that because I feel like as humans, or at least because we live in this kind of like more masculine society right now in this day and age, we're very focused on we have to build a physical object that does the job with us in unison. But what if
we're not using our consciousness?
But that's what I wonder back, because if you go back maybe 10,000 years ago, maybe we were more balanced and more female and male. And so like that female side's more creative, more cerebral. Like what if like they were using their minds to create things and their minds to travel through time?
There was let's take Rome. And Rome was like the culmination of 3,000 years of attitude. Women were second-class citizens.
Yeah.
And they were treated as such. Okay? That attitude was in that part of the Western world.
But that was Rome.
You go to the Celtic.
What about Greece, though? Because the Spartans, weren't they known to like put their women on pedestals? Like
they were equals. But that was an anomaly, and that was a masculine society. They were
even their women were masculine.
Yes. Oh yeah. Well, they believed that they were direct ancestors
of
to
Hercules. Yeah.
You know. So I mean,
like, Hercules is my uncle, bro. Look at me.
Yeah. 10,000 Persians. Yeah, I'll take 2 guys. Yeah. Not a problem. Yeah. A little Photoshop will be great. But oh shit, what was it? Oh, but in the Celtic world, and let's say Vikings, which is not a nice term, but women were equals.
Yeah.
I mean, the woman that led the revolt on the British Isles, the southern part, I can never say her name. I mean, she led this army of 250,000 people against the Romans. It's just, you know.
They probably didn't expect that either. They're like, this lady's running a 250,000 people. Or
yeah. But again, the biggest problem, and I always make fun of our Scottish heritage, or, you know, the Picts.
Yeah.
You know, there's the Romans, all really nice uniforms, all uniform shields, got all this great
looking
stuff
clean
to fight with. And there's our relatives.
Yeah.
They're stripped down, painted blue, fucking hammered on scotch,
and mushrooms,
and mushrooms and a battle axe. Come on, motherfuckers, let's fight, you know.
And that's why they got conquered by the Romans.
Oh God, yes. You got a bunch.
You got to be organized, people. You got to look good, dress for the job you want. The Romans dressed for the job they wanted. The Celts were just trying to party, and then they were like, "Guess we're fighting."
Vercingetorix has got this huge, you know, Alesia, this huge hill fort.
Yeah.
Right. And then here comes Julius Caesar. He's got about 50,000 guys.
Yeah.
There's 250,000 up there. And Vercingetorix calls for other Celtic tribes, Germanic tribes to come and fight. So what Julius does, he goes, we're going to starve them out, and we're going to keep this group from getting us. He built a palisades, 2 walls, all the way around Alesia.
Yeah.
Right? And had choke points to kind of make the soldiers or the other tribes coming, only way to get in.
God, we are so lucky that we live in this day and age. Because could you imagine being one of the people that are 250,000 people that lived in that city? They're being starved to death, and you're like, I don't even like the dude running this place. like,
well,
let me leave.
Julius Caesar was. It was scorched earth with him.
Yeah.
Well, the Romans. That's what they did.
Yeah.
Just like Genghis Khan. But Alesia, they send out the women and children because they're starving.
Yeah.
And Julius Caesar said, nah, we're not letting you go.
Wiped them out?
No, he sent them back into the city.
Oh, okay.
Okay. And the reason being is, sure, we can kill off their warriors, but if their women and children are still there, in 50 years, we got to fucking fight them again.
Yeah,
that was the attitude.
Well, yeah, because their children will grow up their whole lives knowing that you did this to their family.
That's why when they conquered somebody,
they fully wiped them out because it was just
what they did. They just sold them into slavery and shipped them all over.
Oh,
the
spread
place.
them out so that they couldn't unite again.
Well, you know that movie Gladiator.
Yeah. Right.
And you think about Russell Crowe. And all the different kinds of people, because he was Spanish.
Yeah,
and that was.
And when they put him in slavery, he was like in cages with people from all over the world, all over the Mediterranean, all over the Africa.
The biggest empire there was.
Yeah,
I mean, what was it? A fifth of the world's population lived in Rome.
Yeah.
Then they had the Justinian plague and the Antonian plague. That was 48 years.
48-year plague.
48 years long.
Holy fuck.
Yeah.
And those are the ones with like sores and horrible.
Oh yeah, bubonic plague, the Black Death. Oh my God.
Yeah, the prairie dogs and the rodents in Colorado actually carry the Black Plague.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, they run around with it.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. That's why you got people.
We have little outbreaks of the Black Plague in Colorado sometimes, but it's contained.
Well, you have vaccines and medications, things like that.
Yeah.
There's therapeutics
to help with that.
Oh,
there's the oxygen company.
Wow, that sounds like.
We're gonna do a quick pause while we handle this oxygen thing, and then we'll get back to this in just a second. Quick break. You guys won't know anything about it. And welcome back, everybody. That small break that you didn't even see happen. We just got an oxygen delivery, but now we're back. We were talking about the Justinian plague, but I want to just veer us away from that for a second. You were just
let's veer it away.
I think everyone's had enough plague and sickness, so we don't need to talk any more of that stuff.
Yeah.
But you were just talking about Bucky Allen Bowe living like he had
Great Depression.
Great Depression.
Perfect.
Now we'll go talk about depressions and stuff.
No.
And recessions.
We were talking about capitalism and capitalism.
But you were talking about when the Great Depression happened, a lot of farmers that made their farms maybe too big and too mechanized were struggling or losing their farms.
You live in an area where that happened.
Let me get but with you, and then you were saying there was a specific guy that he didn't grow his farm too big and just focused on his milking cows specifically.
Yeah, what he did was he didn't buy into we were talking about greed.
Yeah.
He didn't buy into, I take out these loans, I could make all this.
Yeah.
So it's like gambling.
Exactly.
Okay? Yeah. Now, Bucky's father and grandfather went, yeah, that's a nice idea. But, he goes, and this is the same concept I learned from Sam Crisella about business. You don't make a living off of one person, off of one idea.
No.
What you do is
use that idea to invest in other ideas.
And again, along my line of work, I was a contractor. You always left a little bit on the table for a person. You didn't sit there and overcharge. You're there to make money, but you're not there to rob someone.
Yeah.
It's like prices I see out here, somebody to run a plug, let's say, with a piece of green field, 10 feet for $1,100. I could teach Uncle Matt how to do that.
Yeah. But back to what you were saying about, I really liked that story because that story you were telling me about the guy that focused on his dairy cows and didn't grow his business too big, and he made it through the Great Depression.
Absolutely.
Was that your point?
Yes.
He was able to survive the Great Depression.
Yeah, he didn't. And we were talking about greed.
But I want to make a point about that, why it relates to me, because I've had in the last 2 years, I've had a ton of different offers and things come up where I could expand my company and make like a lot more glass, but like I'd have to have other people making it. Like, and I've seen those things, and to me, like expanding or me getting a bigger building and having all this overhead of the building, all that to me in my heart, I'm like, we're not there yet. Like if I do that, so if we grow a bigger company, I buy a bigger space and I have a bunch of people working for me someday, maybe. But we're not there yet. And I don't want to grow that way. And I was saying this even before this whole thing happened in 2020. Before Luna.
Quiet,
enough.
Luna.
Jeez. The oxygen delivery is still working on getting out
Luna,
here.
come here.
And she's just got to let him know. Sorry,
Come
guys.
here.
All right. But yeah. And I've had like, these dogs. I love them so much. I love them so much. But they are just a real handful sometimes. But yeah. I've had a lot of offers and like opportunities to do stuff like that, and I've ended up turning everything down and not doing it because in my heart I'm like, I need to stay small right now. And I did all this before 2020 happened was my point, and then this happened and it proved to me I was like, no, that was the right move. Is like focus on your craft, focus on what you're doing. There's no need to like try and grow big, even though people were throwing numbers at me, Dad, that were crazy.
Yeah.
And I was like,
what is the point of what you're doing?
But then
that's not the point.
That scared me away. When someone started saying big numbers to me, that actually scared me away. I was like, whoa. I don't think I'm there yet. I'm like, I want to be successful, but I don't think I'm what you're throwing at me. I'm not there yet.
That's, you know what it is.
I want to grow a strong business. I don't want to just I don't want to just make a bunch of money overnight and then be on to the next thing. I'm trying to grow something that I can be proud of. When my daughter gets older,
that one pile of money is that going to bring you happiness?
No,
money
isn't
make
it.
your life any better?
No, I don't work this late for money. This is an obsession. I love glass, and honestly, a lot of these offers to me felt like, even though there were people that were maybe like looking out for me or trying to like help the business grow, whatever it was, or who knows what people's real intent was.
Yeah.
But for me, it felt like it was going to devalue all those nights that I worked till 4 a.m.
Mm-hmm.
It felt, because to me, once these new collectors jump on and they start seeing all these, and they're gonna be like, oh yeah, they won't know the guy that killed himself to 4 a.m. 7 days a week and did something that like might, I might have Alzheimer's someday from working so crazy.
Well, you know something,
like
it's
the lack of sleep.
And
I have so much pride.
You can call it an art and call it a craft.
Yeah.
I mean, what I did in my life, I always considered it my finished product, what that looked like. And if I charged a person X amount of dollars and it cost me, I lost profit.
Yeah.
So be it.
But here's my thing is like,
I mean,
is me being like that though, is that hindering my growth for my family, and is it ego based? Because that's all ego, right? Because I'm worried about people's perception of how hard I've worked, and I want them to appreciate it.
That's just, again, you're
or am I overanalyzing
you're micro dissecting.
I analyze every move I make, every step I make. It's like a supercomputer goes off, and I'm like, a ripple goes out. I'm like, who does it affect, and what's the repercussions, and this and that, and every post, every time I talk, every time my mouth opens.
I remember telling you, look at all the variables.
Yeah, that's all I do. It's like a giant chessboard all day. I'm like, what am I doing?
It drives you fucking crazy.
No, and I was talking to my trainer, and I'm like thinking about yourself and checking yourself and being aware of ego and trying to be a good person is great, but that's also a slippery slope too, because you can start over-analyzing everything, overthinking everything, and then you miss out on being human, because being human, I feel like, is being somewhat ignorant. Is just being here and making and working with your hands. I don't know, like wondering, if you overanalyze everything, do you overanalyze to the point of no more wonder, no more imagination, or is it just like everything has to be,
you're looking at you overanalyzing something as like you're being OCD or something.
Oh, I'm in like 3 different dimensions. I'm seeing 3 different Evans. I'm analyzing the person that's analyzing me. It's just this it's insane. It's the hash. It's the terps.
Yeah, that's
the terps.
What it is.
And actually, it's really
called genetics.
No, I've done that forever, since I was a little kid.
Yeah,
did everything.
I mean, when you were a little kid playing Warhammer.
Yeah.
I remember you would spend hours painting and doing all your characters and making characters in the battles.
That's a real nerd.
Hey, like I told you, your Uncle John would said that.
But honestly, I did
nerds.
that. I did all that, but I also I only did that. But that was really little when I did that, though. Because once I hit about 10, 11, I started skateboarding a lot, and that became my whole life.
Well, when you were, I think, 8, you skateboarded and you just about broke your ankle.
Yeah.
But then once you healed up that was like that transition. It's
from being a Bill baby to being like start being like
I
think it was
a
too.
Teenager.
Yeah.
I'm gonna skateboard, and that's what you did.
Yeah, I remember I remember I was going to Catholic school like 6th grade, and like I remember like we were gonna have a dress down day or something. It was like the first time I get to like get some clothes like that, and I was like, I want to go to like Zoomies and PacSun, and I went and got a bunch of skateboard clothing, like some like I don't know, I had like Toy Machine gear and like just a bunch of those old skateboard brands. And I was so excited to like go to school in my skateboard gear. And I just, because I loved skateboarding, I was playing Tony Hawk Pro Skater that came out in 1999. I was 9 years old. You guys got that for my N64. And I was playing Tony Hawk Pro Skater and playing with my tech decks. And I was like, I got to get out there and skate again. Because
that's exactly what you did.
And I like did it, and it just became, I was just so obsessed with it.
What was weird, I think is when you first met Cassie, that guy that had the skateboard shop.
Yeah.
And you built
that ramp back there.
You built him ramps in the back of his store.
I fit it into a crazy space, and it was a sick ramp. It was so fun.
It was great.
Had a vert wall. It was nuts.
That? Black Mamba.
Yeah, Black Mamba.
Yeah, you still have some.
I have all the decks.
You have those decks that are brand. I mean, they've never been used.
Yeah, but I always forget these like things I've done, and I try to think back. I'm like, I can't remember physically doing it. And I'm like, did I do it? Was that a different?
Remember the skateboard park in Oswego?
Yeah.
Oh, it would break your heart. All that beautiful money in that.
Yeah.
It's gone.
Just gone.
Oh yeah, they within a few years they just bulldozed, just ripped it all down. All that what's it, skate light?
Yeah.
Is that what you call it?
Yeah, skate light.
Oh my god,
that shit was like $45 a sheet.
I know. Yeah. That was who ended up with the skate ramp?
Who?
The kid across the street from Jeff and Tracy.
Oh really?
Oh yeah, right behind his back. In fact, when his mother was the head of that.
Funny.
Isn't that amazing?
Well, it's wild. It's like I feel like I've lived so many lives, and I wonder if like, you ever hear how they talk about like the sun like puts off certain like storms, or like, you know, the coronal blast. What's it called? It's a mass coronal ejection or something like that. I don't know. I'm not a scientist. Ejection, not injection. But there's like a radiation field that will sweep over our planet, and actually they think that this is part of like how genetics may have evolved over the last, you know, millions of years, as little bits of unique like energy and like unique like matter, like certain things that come off the sun and bursts and sweep over planets like a wave. It's like a wave that hits and maybe like genetically messes with stuff.
Maybe the sun is the nucleus of a cell.
Yeah.
And
I believe it.
Okay.
Keep going.
And we're just actually part of that cell.
Definitely.
And like there's, what's it, Voyager 2?
Yeah.
It's like it's out past the gravitational pull of the sun.
Voyager 2 was shot out in what, 1978?
77?
77?
77, I think.
It was our first like deep space thing we were trying to get at.
Voyager 1 was the first one. And, but the physicists and all the powers to be figured, well, the density of space, you know, it's a vacuum, so there'll be a constant. Well, it got out past that point, and all of a sudden, space became denser, right? Think if you're a cell in a mass of cells, and what holds all those cells together is going to be a little tighter than the cell itself to hold it all together. So we are just a simple little one cell, part of a cell that, you know, that goes back with Men in Black.
The end of it.
The marvel at the end of it. Yeah, that's, you know,
I wonder
where that thought came from.
I wonder, you do know how, like we're traveling, like how our sun is traveling through the universe. Mm-hmm. It's like basically looks like a bullet flying, and it's a rotating bullet. And then around that bullet is the solar system and all the different solar systems.
It's like this round mass of stone.
Well, but the way they're spinning around it is a double helix pattern. Yeah. So like everything's in this double helix pattern. I wonder if our specific solar system and galaxy that's traveling through the universe was traveling in a different way, and the shape was different, if our DNA would be shaped differently, because it literally looks like our DNA. So I wonder if like everything is based on the actual shape of the overall.
It very well could be. I mean, You know, there are always parallels.
Yeah.
You know, again, you go
Patterns.
mathematics. 1 + 2 will always equal 3.
Yeah, we were actually talking about this, I think, before the podcast, but how, like, you know, stories of, like, the Tower of
Tower of Babel.
Babel, and, like, how, like, what was the story of the Tower of Babel? It was, like, basically,
well, humans had become so arrogant. We all spoke one language. We were all just one group. And we wanted to get to where the gods were.
Yeah.
So we built the tower.
Yeah.
That was going to go up and so, because we're as great as the God.
Yeah.
As God. And God's curse was this: send the people to all 4 corners of the world, and no one could understand each other anymore. So
everyone spoke a different
language was gone.
Okay, so on a more, like, modern point of view, I think that common language that they're talking about is geometry and mathematics. I think everyone spoke geometry and mathematics, and they used that
Zeros
to build.
and ones.
Well, they used that to build things that were, like, capable of doing things like gods. Like, basically, they built things that were capable of replicating, building humans.
See, that's the animal part of humans.
And then
Graham Hancock had a great.
He wasn't ready for it.
Graham Hancock.
We were going too deep.
No. Graham Hancock said a great thing. There's a war on the consciousness.
Yeah.
And I believe that.
Well, I think that's a human problem.
No, I think that goes along with what you're saying.
No, I think what I'm saying is now I don't even fucking know
See?
because I don't remember because you interrupted me. But
I'm such a bad father.
yeah, you're terrible.
I feel so
what
bad.
was it? Okay, yeah. So if everyone spoke the same language back in the day, maybe let's say this story is from 25,000 years ago. Let's say it's during the last golden age on Earth, 25,000 years ago or 30,000 years ago. And that everyone spoke the same language, and this is where this original story came from, but people manipulate it over time and make it about their religion or whatever. But it's actually an old story saying how basically people all used to speak geometry and mathematics because no matter where you go in this, like, in space, universe, whatever, 2 + 2 still equals 4. It's just the same everywhere. So everyone knew this common language and knowledge, and through that they were able to do godlike things. Like, they were able to build machines and things that could replicate humans or make, you know, whatever, or go back in time and change things. And then the superpowers in our universe are dimensional beings were like, no, you can't have that power. And they're the ones that, like, you know, control shit. This is all just science fiction and fun. This is a thought, just a game.
Well, it's like,
I don't believe any of this.
It's like,
it's just fun.
You know, I forget the physicist's name, but string theory.
Yeah.
You know, to think of there's all these different, if you want to call them universes, reality, dimensions, and there's these little wormholes that jump from, you know. Yeah. Well, that's what I think psychedelics are. I think psychedelics, when you do them, they thin the veil of dimensions. So if the dimensions are like string theory, they're like abuse. You can abuse psychedelics. Psychedelics should be.
I don't inhale, so
oh, brother, it should be used as a tool.
Definitely,
you know,
for sure.
Instead of.
But I heard this one guy talking. He said psychedelics are an intellectual's drug, and he was saying that not in an arrogant way. He was saying more like you have to know what you're trying to get when you're doing. You have to be. You can't just be like, let's just fucking party, man, and just slam him. He's like, you need to be like really thinking, like, hey, like, what am I trying to get out of this experience? Sure, I want to like have a release and explore and have some fun, but really there needs to be some sort of blueprint, or else I could have a bad time. And I think that's what he was, you know, explaining is like
that was like those Sunday parties I talked about. We would go out to this guy's farm, and there was a big glade, and everybody, you know, you're in high school, we didn't have any money, so somebody might get a couple 6-packs of soda or bottles of wine, but everybody would do psychedelics.
Yeah.
And get there early in the morning. There would be food, and
so it starts early in the morning. That's amazing.
Yeah, you do. It's not something to be in the dark running around.
Yeah.
You want to be outside. You want to be in nature. You know, and this place looked like is it called the Glade in Lord of the Rings, where
they had that last battle where it's like
not the battle where the I can't,
the Shire.
Yes, the Shire. That's it.
Come on now.
Yeah, no, it looked like
Frodo and Bilbo.
Yeah, I know.
Actually,
total mind fart there, but it was like that.
Yeah.
So it was a planned out thing, and you had like maybe 15, 20 people, and you're doing strong psychedelics, but there's a sense of safety.
Yeah, because you're in this like beautiful field.
And there's other people around, but you can just sit back and let it flow.
Yeah.
And to sit there and to be in a situation like that. But then there was then you went to concerts. And doing a bunch of psychedelics at a concert is the equivalent would be like going to a gladiatorial event. And you're number one. You're in the middle of it. Yeah. It's like, oh shit.
Yeah. My thing is like, I don't do this anymore because I have a 2-year-old now, but I used to get way too stoned to go to the grocery store, and you just think you're in everyone's way. And you're just like, fuck. And then you just want to get out of there, and like you just don't even know. And then you buy too much snacks, and you're like, fuck, we needed real food. I don't know what happened.
We had one night, oh God, it was Uncle Gary, his first wife, Susan, and Mom and me. And we're all psychedelic, and it's like, I don't know, 11 o'clock at night. And we go walking into this grocery store, and I look down, and there's pickled pig's feet.
Yeah.
And that's all it took.
Susan
goes, where's the pickled pig dicks?
Oh my God.
All right. I'm sure they're here someplace, you know. They got cow balls over here.
Oh my God.
And Mom and Gary, they were going, shh, shh, shh. As much as they kept on doing that, we got louder. Well, so we got kicked out of the store. So it was in the movie The Graduate. You have Dustin Hoffman in the balcony screaming and banging on the glass. Well, Susan and I went outside in front of the grocery store, and there's Mom and Gary in line. We started banging on the windows, let us in, let us in.
That's so cool.
The people inside just shaking their
tying psychedelics and Lord of the Rings together.
Yes.
The one time that I ate more mushrooms than I wanted to, which was like one of my first times, honestly. Now it's more just microdosing. I ate an eighth of mushrooms, but I had this thing that happened with me and my cousins. We had this huge like snowstorm that night that buried the cars and everything. Do you remember the storm we got? I don't know. There's been so many in New York, but you know,
snows in Central York.
Whatever.
Really?
So we got over 40 inches of snow overnight. Cars were completely buried, but basically at about 2:30 in the morning, when it was the heart of the storm, there's already over a foot of snow. We're all tripping, and then me, Colin, and Zach are all like we just like felt like going on a quest because we played a lot of World of Warcraft.
Oh, absolutely.
We played a lot of World. So and like we had this vision where like we can go on a quest right now in real life. Like we can.
We
quest.
called them all-night patrols.
Well, we were in shorts and t-shirts and just put our sneakers on and started walking through the foot of snow, and we saw Bear Mountain in the distance in the snow. We're like, if we walk through here, we just have to cross Onondaga Creek, cross my parents' property, and then up Bear Mountain. We can get to the top, and we had walking sticks, and we get about into the woods, and then we hear Cassie screaming, and she's like, "You guys are gonna die. Like you're gonna get hypothermia and die. Like you gotta get inside.
Be outside.
You can't go climb the mountain in this horrible storm in shorts and a t-shirt." And we probably could have if we knew the Wim Hof breathing techniques, but this was back in 2011. Oh God, I feel old, but at the same time, when I really think about things, it's like I'm only 30.
Life is, something. 100 years ago, you'd only have like 20 years left.
Yeah.
So I mean,
we're doing good.
I'm 66, man. By all odds, I got about another 10, 15 years maybe. Unless they come up with the super new anti-aging whatever.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't think I'll be a candidate for it.
Either way, maybe you should start lifting some weights or something.
Oh, me lifting weights? Sure.
You want some longevity, do some squats.
Yeah. I think that's called installing sheetrock.
Yeah, is that what that is?
Yeah, that's my form of working out.
Back to talking about that thing we were talking about in the beginning with that little like cluster of cells that they're trying to like figure out how it works in the brain, the neurons or whatever that can slow in time and mess with things. What we actually said this to you a minute ago, I think it was off camera. You and Ijah, our producer, were talking about it, and I was like, "Yeah, I think the smartest beings on planet Earth are probably in the ocean because we're a water world. We are a water planet. Although our dimensions on the land, the majority of the planet's water, and we haven't even discovered most of the ocean is undiscovered.
7%. We think we know.
So my thing is what if like certain types of orcas and whales, they didn't need the ability to build machines because they had a better built system of cluster of these neurons to jump through time or live in different dimensions while their whale bodies are sitting there floating out in the ocean and shit. I don't know. I smoke a lot of hash.
No.
Think about things.
Think about the movie, Dune.
Yeah.
Right?
Love
Isn't that, that's how they travel. They bend space, right?
Yeah,
the spice, right?
Yeah, my spice is almost ready.
What do they call it? What were they?
This is not spice.
They were called the navigators?
I can't remember. I'm excited for the new Dune to come out though.
I know, but this COVID thing's fucked up all that.
Yeah.
You know what's going to come back is drive-ins.
Well, they definitely are.
I guarantee it's you have these platforms that are all the movies are going direct to streaming, right?
Yeah.
But there's something about seeing a movie like Dune or Star Wars, at least for me in science fiction, to have on a massive screen.
Yeah.
So it's almost like you are in like one of those ships.
As long as the picture quality is good. See, I think back when you guys were younger, like you guys were okay, like with how bad the quality was.
Well, we have black and white TVs this fucking big.
I know, that's what I mean. Your
Your
reference point was that. That was so you're like, this is really good because you were referencing it to a small TV. But we have seen so much now and crazy high like quality like everything.
I don't see why they can't transfer that.
I'm sure they can. I don't know how to do any of that shit.
Yeah.
I'm sure they can.
I mean, if they're building 75-inch TVs that you can go to Walmart and buy, I mean, come on. Everything that becomes a consumer product,
someone will figure it out.
20 years ago, it was already there.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just. But what you're talking again, we are so thing based in this world. In order to, you have to change the perception of what life's about. It's not acquiring things, because when you die, it doesn't matter. It's almost like you have these people that are, in like the movie Gods of Egypt.
Yeah.
Right. And they're going to the afterlife, and there's the scales. And they weigh. Good and bad or whatever.
Yeah.
How, we have to change the perception that the more stuff you have I think that's the animal part of being a human. I think the other part of being like.
Here's the other side of that. I think you can have nice things if your intent is right. So if you just buy nice things to post them on Instagram to get some sort of like following or likes or whatever,
again.
That's different. But if you work really hard and you buy something that you're like, hey, I'm not trying to share this with everyone. This is just for me. I didn't buy this to show off. I bought this because I worked hard and I really wanted this. Mm-hmm. And so I think there's always room for people to be successful and have nice things, but the intent has to be in the right place. When you're posting things and making people feel like, I don't know.
Again,
they need to have this to be happy or whatever.
Your great-grandfather, are you an animal or a human being? Animals do things out of instinct. I want to be the alpha male.
Yeah.
Okay? Or are you a human being? Human beings do things out of compassion, caring.
The alpha male sounds horrible. Because what I hear when I hear alpha male, I'm like, okay, there's a ceiling. With an alpha male, there's a ceiling because as an alpha male, you only make it so far till you get knocked off for the next alpha.
Exactly.
But if you're someone that like doesn't live within those parameters and like I don't know, I think it's all about perspective. This is a lot of perspective. I'd rather be the person's kind of. I don't want to be the cool guy. I'd rather just be able to be part of everything and enjoy the whole life around it. And
this is where that male ego comes in, and certain family histories get adulterated.
Yeah.
I usually say this Viking's name wrong. Okay.
Yeah.
Now our relatives came from Scotland.
Yeah.
So we have our history back to about 1100, 1150. Yeah. And that was the time, that period of time, a couple hundred years before that too, it started the Vikings. And the guy Orkloff, I think is how his name, they call him Orkloff the Black.
Yeah, we talked about it a little bit last episode.
He was the ultimate Viking.
The ultimate Viking.
This guy was a real motherfucker.
That's a wrestler name.
And he was coming over to the Christianized Scotland,
Yeah.
where he had the abbeys and
So that's 1100. So
Yeah,
then
900.
who's Sir Peter Aylward then? What year was that? It was
Oh
16?
no, that's Ireland. That's
Ireland.
Ireland. That's when Cromwell came in, and
So that's another
that's
ancestor.
another. Yeah, that's it. That's the Irish part. That would be your great grandmother Lillian Hanson.
Okay.
Okay, the Irish part. Basically, we're Celtic people.
Irish and Scottish.
Yeah, Irish, Scottish, Danish.
See, Cassie hears stories like this from you her whole life because you want to
Well,
know,
you
what
see-
today is? Today's me and Cassie's 15-year anniversary.
Well, happy anniversary.
Yeah, I've been with her for half of my life officially. On this day, I met her at Shoppingtown Mall in Syracuse, New York. I had a...
So you were trolling malls
well,
as
no,
a
no,
teenager.
no.
I brought you up.
No.
better than that.
We talked on the internet. And planned to meet. So she could have been some old creep that was going to abduct me. So this was 2005 when that shit was real. Nowadays, parents
man.
don't really let their kids do that, I feel like.
35-year-old housewife.
But back then, yeah, I remember the whole thing though. I was like wearing like my Fallen is this old skateboard brand. It was a Fallen. It was gray and black stripes.
Yeah.
I had that on. I had my gray and black scarf on. I had a Victoria's Secret box full of gummy bears. She didn't know that. I made her real uncomfortable by giving her Victoria's Secret the first time I met her. She was 15 years old. I was 15 too. So it's really weird, but it made her laugh when she found it was gummy bears inside. And that was 15 years ago today. How crazy is that? Half my life. I'm 30.
Mm-hmm.
It's nuts.
I remember you being
You're not
down.
impressed. Either way, he's
No,
never impressed.
when you were
Not impressed.
No.
Huh. Pretty
It's-
cool story, bro. Well, back to what I
a
was saying.
No, you're just like your great aunt Neil and Duff. They met each other. I think they were like 14, 15,
Yeah.
and they were together their whole lives. They were jitterbuggers.
I think it's
You
the only reason that I have a home. I think it's the only reason I am where I am.
Well,
'cause,
yeah.
dude, it's hard for people out there. Like when you're trying to make a relationship or meet someone to be with, it is fucking hard. It takes up a lot of time. Like you talking back and forth with people, like trying to go on dates and this and that, especially fucking this year.
Well,
but I couldn't imagine. I feel so lucky that I met her so young. But it's also
to me,
it's not easy though. It's a lot of
dating
work.
was something that again.
Now it's a dating
we
advice
were-
show here,
you know,
folks.
we were brought up at a time when, it was, you went up to the parents' house and, could I take Betty Lou to the dance tonight?
Yeah.
And you had
Fuck
its
yeah.
shirt buttoned up to here.
Oh, man.
And
Betty Lou.
then the 60s happened. And, free love and all that. And dating was like, here, want some acid?
Yeah.
Let's go party.
Yeah, that's so cool.
Yeah, you really couldn't go up to somebody's parents and say that.
Yeah.
But,
That's wild.
Yeah, dating.
Totally different time.
Well, as you met Cassie, I was driving down Bridge Street and I looked up in East Park and I see this girl throwing a frisbee with brown corduroys on, or tan corduroys.
That's how you met my mom?
And she had a pink shirt on.
Yeah.
And that was Mom. I go, oh, I'm going to marry her.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
that's
I mean,
cool.
that's how
You should feel lucky. A lot of people, that is not.
no.
A lot of people, it's hard. It's a struggle out there.
no, and again, that's the problem with.
I think
my generation thought everything was
I think your
like,
generation created too many expectations for my generation. I think they told us
because we were taught since World War II, we're the top dogs, and those evil Soviets over here want to blow us up. So our way of life.
No one likes that guy at the party. It's a great way to be successful, but I think to actually go far, that's one thing I worry about our country is if the
we
ego
were
is so
successful, and then we're the best.
Yeah, we're on the
Everybody should be like us.
Yeah.
And then the
I fear
again,
I fear that the
60s.
empire is on the downcline right now.
Well, no, I think the republic is going to go to empire.
Okay, so we're still the republic. You think we're going to climb?
Still a republic, but
I call it the
it's like-
empire.
yeah, well, it's like Rome. Rome was a republic, and then you had Mark Antony and Cleopatra.
Well, do you
and
think in
Octavia.
2,000 years from now they'll call us the American Empire?
It could be a transition because there was a plan during the Civil War, and the Confederacy.
You mean the War of Northern Aggression?
The War of Northern Aggression. That was
It's
so
not the
funny
Civil
when you
War.
were skateboarding.
We said this, I think, 2 episodes. When we
I
did.
know.
We do it all the time.
Anyways,
We're redundant.
there was a plan. Okay, they've defeated the North, so the North is now they control it. They control the country, right? Now they're going to start absorbing the Caribbean, Central America, then South America.
Yeah.
They wanted to make this massive empire.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you will see in your lifetime a possibility of at least 4 more states.
I love it. Tell me the next 4 states. Prophesize it.
Prophesize it? Okay. Puerto Rico, Washington, D.C., Guam.
I don't even know where any of these are.
And, well, the Marshall Islands out in the Pacific, where Guam, American Samoa, and
I'm just kidding. I know where they are. I'm just kind of joking around.
It's part of how it's like how Rome built. They called them provinces.
Yeah.
Right. So they would go and absorb this. Oh, okay, this is a province, and we're going to build a capital city.
Didn't the Persians do the same thing? They're like, you guys keep doing your thing. Just make sure you know I'm the king.
Cyrus the Great, man. He had the best model.
Yeah.
But they also had their state religion of Zoroastrianism,
which is so interesting.
It's not much. It was a monotheistic.
I think it's like, isn't it based off of Mesopotamian like stories, and it's
Sumerian.
Like, and they, obviously their political beliefs altered it a little bit, and
it's
I like how
here's the problem. We're missing a whole page of these. You had Egypt, you had the Persians, let's call them, but then you had the Indus River Valley.
Yeah,
we have all this right. We don't even know anything about. Yeah, it's in India.
Also, too, one of the coolest things is, did the Minoans come to America and mine all the copper out of the Great Lakes region?
The UP.
Yeah, and why?
There's holes dug in the ground. They know that Native Americans did.
Yeah,
they know that for sure.
But in their stories, they didn't say they dug them. There was a people that came and took this.
Right. That's why this right here, this dig that's near where I live.
Oh, we got the archaeology magazine out.
Yeah, this is the connections. You go in and it's a small museum.
Yeah.
You go and start looking at this pottery, and all of a sudden you go, that's from Central New York.
Interesting.
Then you start looking at certain pieces and
but
tools
what I'm wondering
is
like why whoever came and mined all this copper 5,000 years ago during the Bronze Age, whatever it was. Like the amount of copper they pulled out today, it's astronomical. It's 3 times the amount we've pulled out in the last 10 years. But I'm wondering, why didn't whoever came here and dug all that out? Because all the copper left, because they don't know how so much copper got to the Mediterranean before the Bronze Age. That would explain where all the fucking copper came from.
Okay, we're talking 5,000 years ago. Let's say 5,000,
but it's across the ocean, though. I'm like, why didn't they build
water levels
here?
Were lower. Land was closer. The Great Lakes didn't come into being until about 5,000-6,000 years ago. Florida, the Everglades, didn't start being until about 55.
And Florida had a lot more coastline.
Yeah. The Sahara was still green in that 6,000
So what you're saying
BC,
is like the journey may not have been what it is today.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So that's really interesting, and I feel like there's so much history like that like we don't learn about or talk about. Like, but if the Minoans came here from Crete, from the Mediterranean, if they came up, they're about 90% sure they're the ones that did it, because everything that they found, they're like, this is Minoan. This looks like Minoan, all the writings and everything. But why didn't they build anything here? Because they must have seen this land and been like, this is an incredible land. Why didn't they settle here?
Because there was, I think, again,
were they so obsessed with their gods over there?
If there was global changes happening, okay. The Sahara,
but you think it's a human perspective?
The Sahara plains.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, they said between 100 to 500 years is the period of time it went from being a lush green rainforest, largest freshwater lake on the planet, which is underneath the Sahara Desert. And people got to remember, the Sahara is bigger than the
And a
continental
micro
United
version
States.
of that happened within a 10-year period in our country not too long ago, called the Dust Bowl here in
You
Colorado.
betcha. Just down the road
Yeah,
here.
Oklahoma, Colorado, northern Texas.
Yep.
And it just destroyed people. It absolutely wiped people out.
You can still, when you drive across
And there's
Kansas,
slang words
you can see
they call
scars.
Okies.
Yep.
When you hear Okie, that's actually an old slang term for people that were fleeing from Oklahoma for the Dust Bowl. They'd flee to new states, and then people like, fucking Okies are here from the Dust Bowl.
Oh, no,
like,
they put up signs.
no Okies.
All right,
like,
no Okies here.
Yeah.
No, yeah, don't you stop here.
yeah, and they didn't care race or whatever. It's
no.
regional. Whatever fucking region you came from.
That's
People,
right.
people are going to hate you no matter what. What can you do? A dust storm comes in, now you got a slang term, and people hate
Well,
you.
it's tribal. You
It is
know,
more
people
tribal.
are trying to protect what
We're
they
tribal
hide 'cause-
beings.
Yeah,
That's what
you
we
know.
are. That's how we function. And I think it's something, I wonder if we, it's a genetic thing or if it's just
Actually, what it is, the population of the planet's grown so much.
Yeah.
I think that we were seeded here, and within the next 10 years, 5 years, that we will
the overlords are going to come
The
get us.
overlords are going to come, kind of like childhood's end. Okay,
Perfect. Great way to
and
end the
they're going
podcast.
to. Well, it won't be like childhood's end. That's a little. You got really. That was a drag. But they're gonna seed us to new planets.
Yeah.
Because it's there's too many of you here.
There's
so
so many planets out there. Yeah, that's why
Yeah,
I wonder
you
if we're
know?
just an overfilled freaking like meat farm, and they just got to come get us and disperse us to the new planets.
Yeah.
And maybe that's the Tower of Babel. Maybe Earth has become so arrogant they come back, take us, and disperse us to the 4 planets and spread us out, and then we don't remember how to communicate again. I've smoked not enough this episode, but I feel good.
Yeah.
I can't blame that on the weed. I honestly think some of this stuff sometimes.
Oh no,
knows?
that's the advantage of living in a free society.
Yeah.
I mean, people. That's why think of somebody
That-
like
that perspective is a
Leonardo
luxury.
da Vinci,
Yeah.
right? Or Isaac Newton. He invented calculus. You divide.
Yeah, those guys were real weird though, man. Like they're real weird.
Yeah. Newton was a little.
Yeah.
He was.
He believed
He
a lot of
thought-
weird stuff.
Well, he was looking for all these codes and the.
But he believed like crazy alchemy shit too. Like, he
alchemy was the science that the church outlawed.
yeah.
And so, what Nostradamus, they were making concoctions.
Yeah.
And sitting there and getting psychedelic. What's the.
Mercury, they're eating a lot of that shit.
Yeah, well, I know.
Ain't good for you.
The guy, the emperor that made China, right?
Yeah.
I mean, his temple mound or pyramid, there's
yeah.
so much freaking mercury in
in
it
that. It's
because
crazy.
he had.
There's a pond of it underneath of it.
Yeah, he
There's
goes,
where you could take a dip in a mercury puddle.
yeah. This is that
Pool, mercury pool.
That's right.
But they find mercury under all the giant pyramids in Mexico. Like the one specifically is the what's the real big one?
Yeah.
Teotihuacan or something
yeah.
like that. Is that the giant one?
It's Tenochtitlan, Teotihuacan.
It's one of the T's. I don't fucking know. But they found like a big pool of mercury under there too, and like.
Well, that's at the Temple of the Moon. There was a flood a couple years back, and all of a sudden an opening, and then one of the courtyards opened up, and they went down, and you could go underneath the pyramids. Yeah, and one of the archaeology magazines they talk about.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, and some of the stuff they're finding. And it's like all these cenotes that are all through Central America. Well, 6,000 years ago, 7,000 years ago, the water levels were much lower.
Definitely.
And
there's a lot more land down there too.
Yeah, there's lots of tunnels.
Yeah.
And all
So
these
much-
things about tunnels.
See, that's been one thing. If I had like a wish, if like some superpower gave me one wish, I think it would just be like knowledge of like history. I want to know the real history of our planet because I think it's so much more spectacular than anything that's in a book. I think that.
Oh, yeah.
I think that the shit we think of like Lord of the Rings and Star Wars, I think that's all happened, but in different times, like over millions of
if
years.
we're
Who
finding
knows?
different types of humans, and we're just, again, it's like we just put a little scratch in history. Oh yeah, there's 1, 2, 3 kinds, and that's what we're seeing. We only have 1/1000th of 1%.
There's a new thing that came out, and I think they know how to test now. Because you know how in the when you send your blood in, they'll be like, oh, you're this much Neanderthal too. Now they have a thing telling you if you're like 5% Neanderthal or whatever. I think they're by next year or 2022, they're gonna have how much they tell you how much Denisovan Or yeah, it's Denisovan.
Yeah.
That's what we call them anyways, because it's now classified as like a humanoid. It's like a different type of human. There's Denisovan, there's Neanderthal, and then there's us or Homo sapien or whatever. And
before the last ice age, there
were multiple types of like human species.
Humans and primates. You know,
and they were. I think a lot of them were intelligent.
Gigantopithecus.
Yeah.
I mean,
I think they were all super intelligent, and I think there was definitely like crazy like fantasy like stories of like giants and like orc like things fighting humans and elf looking, because Denisovans could have looked like elves. They, who knows?
Or another group.
Yeah, another group. I have no idea.
Yeah,
I have no idea.
It's
Wow. Well, this was fun, Dad.
Yeah.
Fucking episode. I hope your back's not hurting too bad.
Oh, it's not. It's doing okay.
Well, guys, it was fun. I appreciate everybody. I know we could talk forever, but we got to get to work, and our producers got to get home. So I appreciate you guys that support
it's colder than shit here.
It is. I'm shivering a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah.
Everyone's got jackets on except for me and my dad. When I say everyone, Ijah has his jacket on. There's only three of us in here.
Smart young adult.
Perfect. Okay. This is the What's Up Everybody podcast. Maybe we'll get one more in with my dad before he leaves. We'll see what happens, and we'll talk about more of this stuff. If there's a subject you guys like that we talked about, you can let us know down in the comments. Don't forget to subscribe to our newsletter for Bear Mountain Studios. That way you get updates on drops, giveaways, all sorts of things we're doing. And you can find that on bmsglass.com, link in the bio. Appreciate you guys. Have an awesome day, and thank you.
Be a good neighbor.
Yeah.
Take care of one another.
Exactly. Listen to the elderly sometimes.
Thanks a lot for calling me old.
Later, everybody.
Later.